Welcome to Take It from the Iron Woman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Iron Woman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Iron Woman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Hello and welcome. This again is Take It from the Iron Woman, and we have Federica with us. We know from Federica, she's from Italy, and she's working on a very cool project. Let's hear from Federica. Who are you, and tell us about your project.
Hi, Susan. Thank you again for the opportunity to be your guest. And yes, my name is Federica. I'm from Italy originally, and now I live in New York. I'm here today to talk about my personal passion project that is called Comfort Zone Shake-Up. So what is a Comfort Zone Shake-Up? Is an idea, is a platform in which I like to talk about change and how much for me is important to really learn to embrace change in a world that is constantly changing and in a world that is pushing ourselves constantly outside our comfort zones.
That sounds like an interesting project. And we all know change is here if we want it or not. Even with the seasons, spring, summer, fall, winter, they're all coming and we have to adapt. So how did this project come about? And yeah, I'm curious to find out.
Yeah, I mean, I started to be very passionate about understanding what is happening inside our mind, what is happening, how we feel every time we are in front of something new or every time we are in front of changes. And, you know, there are people that may say, I don't need to change, or I don't think that change is something that affects me. In reality, I mean, it's our biology. We are changing constantly from the moment we are born to the moment in which we will die. So every day we are different, and every day the world in which we live is different. So I can mention technological changes, so the digital disruption that is happening and happened already actually, but is happening and will happen in the future. We all know how much is now the effort around climate change. I was part of the global march with Greta in September in New York, and it was an amazing experience. It's also a signal that change is here, is important. It's something that we cannot avoid. And those are just a few examples, in my opinion, of external changes. But the point is that external changes have an impact on our internal changing, on ourselves. So there is this correlation between what is happening outside and what is happening inside ourselves. So we are, as human, we are very connected with the environment in which we live. So it's important to really be aware and mindful of the changes, of the external changes, because sooner or later, consciously or unconsciously, they will have an impact on how we feel.
That's an important moment we need to realize, and getting out of the comfort zone is not so easy for everybody, but when we are more conscious of the external factor, maybe then the internal will become a little easier. How do you see that?
I do believe that this is a crucial, as it's also a sort of the key point of the discussion, because, you know, it's impossible to avoid external changes. It's impossible to avoid internal changes. But the key element is that not necessarily the changes themselves, but it's the effect that all those changes have in ourselves, in how we feel. So there are a lot of statistics nowadays that says that anxiety and stress are increasing. So we live in a society that is very complicated and sophisticated, and as a result there is an increase in anxiety, in stress, in tension, in fear. And this is something I'm not saying that I do have the recipes to avoid that. I'm just saying that it can be an effect of what we live, essentially. But then this is also the core element of what I'm trying to do with my project, because essentially I believe that we should increase the awareness of what is going on in the world, as well as increase the awareness on how we feel. The emotional component in our life is crucial, and most of the time we tend to overlook that. So if now I'm going to ask you, how many emotions are you able to list in a few seconds? Probably the number of emotions will be very limited. In reality, the spectrum is very sophisticated, and increasing the consciousness on our emotional, of the emotional component of our life, on the emotional well-being is very important, because then it's a sort of first step to really start working on ourselves. And this is also another important component, because we can constantly do that on a day-by-day basis. So we don't need necessarily to have the big experience or to have the big change in our life. Maybe we will have that sooner or later, one day, but there is a lot that we can do on a day-by-day basis.
Yeah, and we all know that in psychology, they have like a list of the 100 most stressors. And one is death of a family, one is even marriage, even a positive effect can be stressful. And then moving, changing jobs. So these are all little elements that we're like, yeah, I'm excited, I'm getting married. But then all the stress up to that change of life is amazing.
Exactly.
And I think people also underestimate that. Yeah.
Yes, I would say that sometimes it's worth to just pause for a moment and try to be in the moment, in the zone, right here, right now, and trying to really read ourselves. And in doing that, I see that as a sort of journey, because knowing ourselves, knowing our feeling, it's something that maybe we don't know how to do that. And the journey on improving, reading ourselves, it's an amazing journey.
I think so. I'm with you. And I have to say, you were very inspirational when you posted all your ideas and pictures on the climate change demonstration with Greta Thunberg. And also your challenge. One was interesting for me, take a short shower, or the other one, bring your bag to the supermarket. I want to call myself the recycling queen. I'm with that movement, and certainly happy to see that Jane Fonda was arrested while she was demonstrating. So what did you do out of your challenge?
As I said, I attended the march, and it was an emotional moment and a very inspiring moment. And climate change, as I said, is a manifestation of one of the changes that are affecting our lives. So I realized that I wanted to really continue and provide my contribution to the biggest effort around climate change. I like that the 81 years old Jane Fonda is still fighting for what she believes. It's really amazing. So back to my project, Comfort Zone Shake Up, I usually try to do one challenge per month. So in October, after the march, I decided to do a challenge. So I was inspired by a challenge that the United Nations did with a list of 10 activities that everybody can do on a day-by-day basis to really be more conscious of our impact in terms of climate change, but also to try to avoid general waste. So this is the reason why specifically on Instagram, I launched the challenge. It was called Shake Uppers Act Now, which was an invite to really pick one or more than one activity, easy activity, try to be very conscious and work on our habits to try to really make it better. So the 5-minute showers probably is one of the easiest example. Everybody is taking a shower, hopefully, every day. So, and having a 10 minutes shower or just 5 minutes can have an impact. And sometimes I heard comments like, oh, I'm the only one. So in the world there are 7.5 billion of people. If everybody is reducing a shower of 1 minute, we will have an impact in the world.
Yeah.
So, and I know that in the 7 billion, there are a lot of people that unfortunately cannot have a shower. So, but it's just a general idea that a single contribution, maybe it seems that a single contribution maybe is not worth, but in reality, we are micro elements of a macro world. So I strongly believe that individual contribution can make the difference.
I think so. And that's what I also think with your comfort zone shake up. You're shaking up. If you don't do it, nobody will do it. So we need you pave the way for others to think outside of the box or to realize, hey, we don't need to take a 20-minute shower. It can be less than 5. I think that's a huge contribution. Every single act counts. I'm wondering if you have some insights for the listeners, some tips. How can you change or how can you get out of the comfort zone?
I'm trying to stay away as much as possible from you should do that and you should do this, etc. Because I do believe that we are all different and there is no one size fits all. But I do believe at the same time that everybody should get the right inspiration and should work on what is motivating, because then the motivation is really related to our purpose in life and where we are in our life, in which kind of moment and journey. So probably if there is, it's not even an advice, but it's my point of view is that let's try to really get inspiration and motivation in different ways, in a way that is good for ourselves, and let's try to really work on our mindset, on our emotion, to really be a little bit more conscious and to do something, to take control of our life, starting from very small tasks or activities. We don't need to go big. I always say there is no need to jump outside of the comfort zone. We can start from ourselves and we can expand our comfort zone. And to expand our comfort zone, we should start from micro moments, micro activities, micro tasks.
I think that's a wonderful idea, because when you think people who climb Mount Everest, they don't say, well, tomorrow I will climb Mount Everest.
Exactly.
It will take years to plan it, to make it happen. And then obviously for Mount Everest, there is only such a small window of opportunity. So if we start with small steps, I call it like take a step each day. We want to focus on probably the 10,000 steps. As a runner, for me, the running and the steps are super important. And we all know, Federica, you ran a marathon, I ran a few. So we know how much better we are feeling when we are training for something and also when we reach that goal.
Totally.
Anything else that you would like to share with the audience?
if someone wants to follow my adventure, I want to share that they can find me in my comfort zone shakeup.com, as well as on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, we'll have certainly those social media information in the show notes. We hope to hear more from you, but good luck. And we all need from time to time a shake up from Federica, who has like wonderful ideas. So thank you so much for sharing your insights, and let's take that less than 5-minute shower for all of us.
Exactly. Thank you for having me, and always comfort zone shake up.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
What a cool discussion with Federica. Everybody can make a contribution, even it's a small contribution. Each Monday we have a new episode of Take It From the Iron Woman. Check in, listen to it, write a review. See you then. Enjoy your shower. Don't make it more than 5 minutes.